Welcome back to the Pitwall Pod, the podcast where speed meets emotion and the paddock drama is just as thrilling as the race itself. This week, we're deep in the heart of Texas for the Austin Grand Prix 2025. A weekend of blazing heat, bold moves, and even hotter rivalries. From unexpected podiums to tension in the McLaren garage, the Circuit de Americas didn't just test engines, it tested relationships. So buckle up, grab your headphones, a cold drink, and get ready for an episode packed with twists, team politics, and a little of track chaos. This is episode 28, Texas Heat and High Stakes, the Austin Grand Prix 2025. Let's hit the track. Free practice 1. Alright folks, let's talk free practice 1. The only practice session of the Austin weekend. Just 1 hour to get the setup right before sprint quali. And guess who came out flying? Lando Norris. The McLaren driver was absolutely on fire under the Texas sun. Topping the timesheets with a 1:33.294. Behind him, a surprise name, Nico Hulkenberg. The kick Sauber looked seriously quick, just 2 tenths off Lando's pace, and Oscar Piastri made it a strong double for McLaren in third. With the sprint format back, everyone hit the track early. Max Verstappen let the pack out when the lights went green, while the Aston Martin gambled on medium tires, but it wasn't smooth sailing. A few messy moments out there too. Hadjad's engineer mixed him up with Bottas, Stroll brought out a red flag with debris at turn 19, and Carlos Sainz had to park it with gearbox issues in the Williams garage. Not ideal for the Spaniard. Fernando Alonso had his moment too, briefly taking the top spot with a 1:33.639, but Lando wasn't having it. He reclaimed P1 with that blistering lap and stayed there when the checkered flag fell. The final top five: Norris, Hulkenberg, Piastri, Alonso and Verstappen. Behind them, Alex Albon impressed in sixth for Williams, while and Lew- George Russell and Lewis Hamilton round out the top eight. Further down, Kimi Antonelli struggled in P18, while Sainz and Leclerc finished at the bottom, both hampered by technical gremlins. So after FP1, McLaren looked strong. Sauber is surprising everyone and Ferrari's got work to do. The big question now, can Norris turn the FP1 pace into a sprint pole? Later today we'll find out soon. Stay tuned, sprint qualifying is next. Sprint quali. Alright, now let's talk about sprint quali. And wow, what a showdown we had in Austin. Max Verstappen came out and on top when it mattered most, stealing pole right at the end with a stunning 1:32.143, just 7 hundredths of a second ahead of Lando Norris. That's less than the blink of an eye. Lando had been the man to beat all season long, topping both SQ1 and SQ2 like he owned the place. But when the pressure peaked in SQ3, Verstappen delivered that classic Red Bull punch right at the end. Piastri backed up McLaren's pace in third, only 3 tenths of Max, and Nico Hulkenberg once again surprised everyone by taking P4 for Kick Sauber. Behind them, George Russell slotted into fifth, followed by Fernando Alonso in sixth, both looking solid but not quite. On the front row side, Carlos Sainz bounced back after his gearbox scare in FP1, grabbing P7 for Williams, with Lewis Hamilton right behind in 8th, Albon impressed again in ninth, and Charles Leclerc rounded out top 10 after a scrappy session for Ferrari. Let's rewind a bit though. Sprint quali was chaos from the start. In SQ1, half the grid nearly missed the flag, with Behrman, Tsunoda, Ocon and Bortoleto failing the set's final lap times in time. Track limits bit hard too. Lawson and Stroll both lost their best times. SQ2 saw more heartbreak. Kimi Antonelli was just 6 thousandths of a second short of making it through to SQ3. Brutal, especially right after being announced as a Mercedes driver for 2026. And then in SQ3, it was all about timing and nerve. Russell set the early benchmark, Hülkenberg looked brilliant again, and when the big guns came out, it became a three-way fight. Verstappen, Norris and Piastri, trading purple sectors, and in the end Verstappen edged it. Just his 38th career sprint pole and another reminder that he's never out until the final corner. So your top five: Verstappen, Norris, Piastri, Hülkenberg and Russell. In FP1 hinted that McLaren had the edge. Sprint quali proved Red Bull still knows how to play the big moments, and let's be honest, the front row of Verstappen and Norris is the rivalry we've all been waiting for. Tomorrow's sprint is going to be spicy. Now, if you thought sprint quali was wild, the sprint itself was absolutely chaos in Austin. Max Verstappen came out on top, but the story wasn't just about his win, it was about what happened behind him in turn one. The lights went out, the crowd roared, and by the time they reached the first corner, both McLarens were out. Oscar Piastri got tagged by Nico Hulkenberg's kick Sauber, spun around, and collected Lando Norris in the process. Boom! Double McLaren DNF on lap 1. You could hear the collective gasp from the orange fans all around the Circuit the Americas. Hulkenberg limped away with a front wing damage. Alonso got cut up and retired too, and the safety car came out before anyone even made it to lap 2. Meanwhile, Verstappen sailed ahead like nothing had happened. When racing finally resumed, George Russell kept Max honest, even tried a daring move into turn 12, but both of them went wide. Verstappen rejoining in front and holding firm. The stewards took a look and waved it off. Just good, hard racing. Behind them, Carlos Sainz was flying. After that tough FP1 and the gearbox scare, he stormed to third for Williams. Yes, Williams. Ahead of Hamilton and Leclerc, who had their own private Ferrari battle all race long. Further down, Alex Albon finished a strong sixth, Yuki Tsunoda grabbed seventh, and rookie Kimi Antonelli picked up his first sprint point in eighth. After Ollie Behrman's time penalty dropped the Haas to the back. But the drama wasn't done. With 3 laps to go, Lance Stroll misjudged a move on Esteban Ocon, collected the Haas, and brought out another safety car. The sprint finished under yellow flags, Verstappen taking his 13th sprint win, with Russell and Sainz rounding out the podium. So, final top 8 sprint results: Verstappen, Russell, Sainz, Hamilton, Leclerc, Albon, Tsunoda, and Antonelli. And heartbreak for McLaren. Both cars out on the very first lap after dominating the whole weekend up to that point. It's fair to say tension were running high in the McLaren garage. After that one, and you can bet Norris and Piastri will have plenty to say before Sunday's Grand Prix. The championship picture still advantages Verstappen, but after that messy sprint, the grids got plenty to prove heading into race day. Qualifying. Let's rewind to Saturday's qualifying. And oh, does Austin deliver another torturer? Max Verstappen looked absolutely unstoppable. The Dutchman took pole position for Sunday's United States Grand Prix. Even after running out of time to start the final flying lap in Q3, his first run, a 1:32.510, was just too good for anyone to touch. Lando Norris came the closest, just 2 tenths behind, and Charles Leclerc was right there too, only 6 thousandths of Lando's time. Talk about tight margins. Behind them, George Russell put his Mercedes in fourth, and Lewis Hamilton rounded out top 5. After a few nervy moments with track limits, Oscar Piastri had a tricky session in sixth, still trying to recover from that sprint disaster early in the day. Kimi Antonelli impressed again with P7, Ollie Behrman pulled off another solid P8 for Haas, Carlos Sainz took 9th for Williams, and Fernando Alonso completed the top 10 in the Aston Martin. But it wasn't smooth sailing for everyone. Nico Hulkenberg, Friday's sprint qualifying star, couldn't repeat the magic. Knocked out in Q2 in 11th, Liam Lawson took P12, and Yuki Tsunoda could only manage 13 in the Red Bull. ahead of the Alpines and of Gasly and Colapinto. The drama started early, as Akaja lost the rear just minutes into Q1 and slammed into the barriers, bringing out a red flag. The Racing Bulls rookie was furious with himself, punching the steering wheel as the marshals cleared his car. Then came the track limits chaos, but both Lance Stroll and Alex Albon had their laps deleted, putting them down in 18 and 19, and with Stroll's 5-place grid penalty, that drops him all the way to the back. Gabriel Bortoleto and Esteban Ocon, also excited in Q1, ex- exited in Q1, round out the bottom 5. So your top 3 for Sunday's grid: Verstappen, Norris, Leclerc. Red Bull on pole, McLaren right behind, and Ferrari in striking distance, and the mixed-up midfield ready to cause trouble into turn 1. Verstappen said afterward it was good. The first lap in Q3 was strong, tricky conditions with the heat and the wind, but we didn't even need the second run. The car felt great. It's shaping up for a spicy Sunday in Texas. Norris looked fired up, Leclerc's right there, and with that narrow run into turn 1, you just know we're in the fireworks. Race Sunday at the Circuit of the Americas. And what a roller coaster of a weekend it's been. After a dramatic sprint on Saturday, Max Verstappen converted pole into a commanding victory at the United States Grand Prix, claiming his 5th win of the season. From lights out, Verstappen got a clean getaway, holding the lead through turn 1, while the rest of the field navigated far from calmly down the sprint chaos. Behind him, Leclerc snatched P2 at the start from Norris, but the McLaren driver wasn't done. A tense battle for the remaining podium spot kept fans on the edge of their seats. Strategy-wise, everyone opted for a one-stop race. Verstappen managed his soft tires brilliantly in the final stages, cruising to a 7.959-second margin of victory. Lando Norris eventually got the better of Leclerc late in the race, securing P2 in a masterclass of timing and persistence, while Leclerc settled for third after a tough battle with his tires. Lewis Hamilton had a nervy finish in P4, seemingly nursing a puncture on the last lap, and championship leader Oscar Piastri salvaged fifth after a challenging weekend for McLaren. George Russell came home sixth, Yuki Tsunoda seventh, Nick Hulkenberg took P8, Nicky Sauber, Ollie Behrman scored P9 for Haas, while Fernando Alonso rounded out the top 10. There was plenty of drama through the field. Carlos Sainz was the only retiree, pulling off after contact with Kimi Antonelli early in the race. Antonelli, meanwhile, embarked on a strong recovery drive to 13 after that incident. Colapinto ignored team orders to stay behind Gasly, sneaking P17, while Hadjar and Bortoleto finished at the back. For Verstappen, this win puts him just 40 points behind Piastri in the Drivers' Championship, with Norris only 14 points behind his teammate. A weekend that started with sprint chaos and a qualifying drama ends with Red Bull once again showing dominance and plenty of momentum heading to the final races of the season. Verstappen summed it up after the race: "It was an unbelievable weekend for us. The pace between myself and Lando was really close, but that first stint made the difference. Managing the tires wasn't easy, but we kept the lead and I'm incredibly proud of everyone." So, another Texas thriller in the books. Verstappen victories, Norris second, Leclerc third, and a championship battle heating up as we head towards the final round. The Drivers' Championship top 5: Piastri with 346 points, Norris with 332 points, Verstappen 306, Russell 252, and Leclerc 192 points. Constructors' Championship: McLaren 678, Mercedes 341, Ferrari 334, and Red Bull 331, and Williams 111. And that wraps up an unforgettable weekend at the Circuit of the Americas. Verstappen takes the win, Norris secures a hard-fought second, and Leclerc rounds out the podium. From sprint chaos to strategic tyre managing masterclass in the race, Austin certainly delivered drama, excitement, and plenty of talking points for the championship battle. What's next? Everyone heads straight into a double-header sequence, moving from Austin to Mexico City for the Mexico City Grand Prix scheduled for the weekend of October 24th to 26th. The championship fight shows no signs of slowing down, and we can't wait to see how the drivers tackle the high altitude challenges at Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. Stay tuned for more episodes and don't forget to like and subscribe. And we'll be back with all the highlights, drama, and analysis from the Mexico City Grand Prix. See you next time.